All right. Good morning, guys. What is today? Oh my gosh. It's April 9th, second week of April. So what I check too on Sundays and Mondays is I go look at that new volume of mine and then of people around me. Because when it's the second week of the month, you really want to be looking at that. I know, my personal goal for my new volume is to run an MVP each month. I think it keeps me relevant and just really leading from the front by example. And that doesn't always happen. It doesn't. But I'll never go below 800 new volume. And I think that is a great goal for people to start practicing. And when you first come in and hit your MVP, that's 2000 in new volume. When you're in your rising champ phase, you're not necessarily you have your own type of share pool, your own bonus system with customers, and there is a bonus pool going on there. But if you can practice now to hit that 800 in new volume, then you'll be ready when you become a COC going into a level 7, a level 8, a level 9. Go ahead and program and condition yourself that you would never go below, and I would say 900 new volume, because you don't want to be in the last few days of the month trying to figure out how to get an extra 400 in bonus volume that could potentially cost you $10,000. No joke, no lie. How many of you have been in that situation, right? 3 freaking box of ketones for 10,000 bucks. It's a serious business. It becomes a big deal when you get to that COC and you get entering into those share pools to be able, you're holding yourself accountable. So I only say that because on Mondays, or Sunday night, I think it's a great idea to take a snapshot of your business and where you're at in the month to get ready to start the week. So this is our Monday mindset call. I don't know if you're new to this. My name's Abigail Klutz, and I'm from Olathe, Kansas. And absolutely, we had an amazing Ketone 101 last night with Willie. And then we went in and I went into a very thorough dissection on the Prover 101. And I've had a lot of you asking for that link today. What I wanted to do is pulse out this call and load this one up so we get our training. But don't worry, I will get you that Prover 101 later this afternoon. So with that being said, let's get into it. And what I'm going to go over today is a sheet that some of you saw last night, and I have millions of messages asking me for this sheet. Calm down. I'm going to get this out. I'm going to get it out on the pulse, okay? But I do have some touching up on it that I want to do, okay? This came from a friend of mine in another line, and I used it last night, the Promoter 101. I'm going over it. I'm looking at it, and there's just a few adjustments that I want to make to it, but I'm going to go ahead and give a good training on it today. But yes, I will get this out on the pulse so that you can have it with your team and tribes and have that measure of accountability with those who want to run with you. So it's called the Promoter Tracker. And it's for rising champs. Okay. It's your DMOs. So, hey, Linda, let's mute you. So what it is basically it's going to be a checklist right here. And then you're going to have that ability, and it'll come in a file. I'll make sure you get a file so you can keep printing it off each week. But I'm going to go ahead and take you through it a little bit and kind of deep dive into it. So then when you get this file, you can use this recording to also hand out with people and kind of do a deep dive into some of those things. So the first one is what does a typical prover day look like? I think so often we're like, well, what do I do for my business? Listen, if you're not doing anything in your business and you're not showing up to work each day, I promise you, you're not growing your business. You won't hit 800 new volume, and the people around you won't hit their goals either. So what does it look like to start out on a Monday, and what are some things that you can do to generate growth? All right. The first one, as we know, is to work on our mindset. So it's 10 minutes of personal development. Okay, so I woke up and I'm giving examples of everything because I really want to break this down and not make this conceptual. So I woke up today. I have a book that I'm reading that is speaking to my heart. So I have a book, and then I also have the Bible sitting right next to me, and I literally open it up and get into scripture. That's where my power is. That's where my plug-in is. But you need to think about something in your life that you're plugging into that is feeding you at a deep level, so that when people come at you, or hardship or challenges or the world or a bad day hits you, there is something greater than the circumstances that is feeding your heart and your soul, that can come to your mind and come through your mouth, and that you can be above the situations going on around you. Easier said than done. But if you're not plugging in the morning, it's going to take hold of you. A bad circumstance could define you and what you speak into others in your day. So right here, and it was funny because today I literally read a story. This is called Without Rival. It's called Embracing Your Identity and Purpose in an Age of Confusion and Comparison. And probably one of the things that I struggle most with in this business, in my job every day, is comparison. And yes, it will absolutely rob your joy. And so it's something that I deliberately have to work on, have to get tools to equip me with. And one of the stories today was literally, she woke up and she picked up her phone. She was having a beautiful morning. She had her coffee. She lived in Colorado. The sun was rising over the mountains. And it was just that perfect opportunity that she could have prayed or gotten into the Word and had that time for herself and that fulfillment for herself. But what she did was she picked up her phone. She picked up her phone in that 10 minutes that she had of that personal development time to feed herself. And what ended up happening was she saw a top 100 list of the best Christian authors in that year going on. And she had sold millions of books, had been at tons of events, traveled the world. And all of a sudden, she was kicked out of that beautiful moment into that frenzy, into that anger, into that comparison game. And guys, I can't, I had this moment, I'm just being really honest. I had this moment last week. I had this moment, or it was a couple of weeks ago, and I was sitting there with my coffee, about to plug into my strength and the power and the joy, the contentment. And I opened up my Pulse app and I saw all these people ranking up, and I went, ah! And it was like the very people that I can get caught up comparing myself to. And I just battled it. I battled that nature, that fierce competitor nature that I carry. I was able to simmer down, get back into where I was going. And then later I made myself text out, congratulations and so proud of you, and do the very thing that was challenging for me to do. And I want to grow in that, but it's so important, that 10 minutes of personal development, to protect our mindset and our hearts and who we want to be as men and women as we work this business, and the type of light that we want to show others. And I'm telling you too, if you come out your coach or you come out your sponsor, with a bad energy, you don't think that's going to affect them, right? It's our responsibility in the way that we approach people, but it's our responsibility in the way that we can handle people by not gaining our joy, our happiness, or our workflow based on somebody disgruntled coming at us. So it goes both ways. But I'm telling you, I spent at least 10 minutes talking about that one because it's part of the biggest part of starting your journey here at Prove It, and that day and that mindset to be able to go out and work with people. That it's not the ketones and unloading of the 10-day experiences that's hard. It's building an organization full of lots of people and personalities and being able to work with that. So 10 minutes of movement is another thing on the checklist. You're in a health company. It's important for you to take care of yourself. For me, I got to tell you that making sure that my kitchen is clean and that my desk is kind of organized on Sunday night is flowing into that 10 minutes of movement. Because when things feel kind of taken care of and kind of organized around me, it makes me feel like I don't need to put myself on the back burner. This stuff is done. This stuff is picked up. I don't feel in a state of stress with the messiness. And now I can go take care of myself. And as women, we'll put ourselves on the back burner. But I don't know if any of you out there struggle with anxiety or depression or moodiness or seasonal depression. It's something that has been a huge journey for me in the last 3 years. And so one of you wants to just say, me too, I get it. But moving and not eating sugar and drinking water and getting to bed at a decent hour and doing that DMO is everything in battling it. And it's just become something that I've identified and owned that I will battle. And I know what I have to do to stay on top of it. And so that movement piece is huge. It's huge for all of us. The other one is a 3x3 gratitude list. 3 things that you are thankful for today. Write them down. And then it's 3 things that you are thankful for in the future. Some of my friends in Baton Rouge gave me this journal, Anna and Kathy, and I really love it. It's basically, it's like when you're saying gratitude, also say things you're thankful for that haven't happened yet. And go ahead and just speak that thankfulness into existence, because it also keeps your mind and your energy on where you want to go. So it's in essence, it's like goals, only putting, that good gratitude around those goals that you're going to accomplish. So, I am so thankful. I am so grateful that my new promoter got to walk away from their job they hated 6 months from now. I am so thankful that this person was finally able to, have that conversation with their family and solve that tension going on that I heard about the other day in our conversation. That like things of gratitude that you want to happen and things that you're grateful for today. So the 3 and 3 things grateful for now, 3 things grateful for in the future. The next one is check your Prove It Pulse app. I'm not going to lie, this kills me because I work so hard sometimes. I kind of had a cry fest with Monica Dixon this morning, and I appreciate her for listening to me. But, I was just in an ego moment. I said, I work so hard to prepare for these calls. And then I go out to my leaders and I tell them, hey, are you getting on? And they're like, on what? I'm like, have you looked at your pulse? Or new rising champs that are getting going and started and they still don't have a Pulse app downloaded. And it's just like the lifeline of our business. It's like our company memo. Like if, you want to work this job that's not in a 9-to-5, that's not in a business building, how do you get the communication to when and where your meetings take place? I know if I was at an insurance job and at 9 a.m. everybody got out of their chairs and went to the boss's room to have their Monday morning meeting, we would all know we were doing that, right? And so that's your pulse. Your pulse is what tells you when you're going to have, your tribe meetings, your close little meetings, your big meetings, or it tells you different product releases going on. It tells you different campaigns we're running. It tells you where you can buy the tickets to the events. Like, your pulse is the lifeline of communication with your business. So on your daily DMO, it's check that pulse in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. And I remember working in a 9 to 5. I had to stay on top of my emails. I had to stay on top of things going on within the office. And there was no excuse. Like, if that morning the boss called an ad lib play at 3 o'clock and I hadn't checked my email for the last 2 hours, I'm the one who was responsible. I'm the one who got in trouble for that. And I think so often we don't treat this like a job, but we want to get paid like it's a job. So if this is your job and this is your escape out, own it. Find out what the communication is that day and what's going on. There's so many times people come to me, crying about missing a flash sale release on a product. And I'm like, when's the last time you checked your pulse? It's been out for 6 hours. This is your company communication. So make it part of your DMO to check that pulse in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. The other one is like, comment on Prove It Facebook page. I have not done that today. And if I had this checklist this morning and I was following it, I would have done it. Absolutely would have done it. And that's a very important part of engagement into the culture and to know what's going on. So make sure on your Facebook, you go to the Prove It Facebook page, you hit like, you have it come up first in your notifications, and go like, comment, and let that be culturally relevant. Tag people up that it applies to, or customers or people you're prospecting. You're going to see things. And part of, my 10-pack 5-day experience is what I'm sending them from the Prove It Facebook page during that time where they're taking that experience. So if I'm not staying relevant on new recipes or new studies, or like Dr. Ryan coming on, and Wednesday is an awesome time to go ask, and like, I have a couple of you, my number one answer when you come at me during the week and you ask me some medical question about a customer, my number one thing is, hey, get on Wednesday and have that person ask that question on Wednesday. Number one, it engages them. Number one, it takes both you and I out of the hot seat of being their medical professional, and it puts them in the right place for the right question that is really none of our business to be answering for them. So it's an awesome time for them to engage and see a lot of other things going on too when they're going in with their question to ask. The other one is to add 3 new people to your network daily. And so that could be on Instagram, that could be on Facebook. I do a little search where I look for influencers. I look for people I feel like have great energy and good charisma. When they post something, they get more than 3 likes on it. They're engaged with their audience. Just because if I'm bringing on a business partner, it's a piece that we don't have to build for 8 months. And nothing wrong with that, because when I started, I didn't really have a strong social media presence. I had some strong programs and great referral systems set up, but I didn't have a strong brand or presence online. And it's something every day that I've had to build, and it won't come overnight. But when I'm recruiting and I'm looking for people to run with me from a business perspective, I like to add those people into my network. So maybe 3 people daily. And when you add them, don't just add them. Go like and comment and give value into whatever it is that they're doing. I'll give you an example. And I'm like this right here this morning, just because people I know, you're always like, well, what do you say? So this morning, last night, I actually was going through Instagram, chasing I chase down things. I'm like, oh my gosh, this woman is amazing. I love her message. I love what she's about. I love everything she puts out. And I saw her tag another girl. And because that one kind of scared me, and I thought she wouldn't be interested in this, but I love following her. And she tagged another girl. And that girl was a health professional. And she also had another side thing of entrepreneurship and Christian woman. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love her too, but still couldn't really feel that fit in there. But she tagged another girl, and I went to that one. And that one looked like someone I really could resonate with. And she was a personal trainer, and she was a strong Christian woman. And I went into her website, and she offered low carb programs. And in her tagline, it said biohacker. And I was like, dang it, she's already improved it, but she's not. And so it was just the pursuit of kind of chasing these leads of these people. And I felt comfortable. It's never comfortable, but I felt like this is the one I want to reach out to. Maybe someday she'll go get these two that I just put on my chicken list for some reason, which I'll get back to them. But I said, hi, I don't know how I came across you. I started at Lisa Bevere, and that's the woman's book I'm reading. And I saw a tag. Anyway, I noticed your profile said biohacker, and I looked at your program and saw you lean towards a higher fat, low carb lifestyle. Sorry, someone's calling me. Lifestyle. I was curious if you've researched or looked into therapeutic ketones in conjunction with a low carb life. And she said, hi, yes, absolutely. I use them. And I was like, oh, and I went back to her page, and I didn't see our product on there. And so I said, is it Prove It or just ketones in general? And she said, I've used X company and X company, but I haven't tried Prove It. And I just said, oh my goodness, you'll be shocked at the difference. And then I just gave her a little drop about ketones. I said, ketones need to be bonded to the right minerals to absorb them. I know you'll see the difference in bioavailability. I'd love to send you some samples if you're open to that and if it would excite you. LOL, I geek out. And she said, absolutely. I'm all about the science behind products. And then she told me some that she used, and I had them in my cabinet. So I took a picture and flipped it back at her. I said, I use that too, and I choose this now over it. And she said, awesome. I put my high performing clients on ketones. Let's connect. And I got her address, and I'm going to get her some samples out today. So that just, that happened last night at midnight, and I woke up at 7 to follow up, and then there was a message there. So, but now I'm working, like if I did that 5 times today and 5 times tomorrow and 5 times on Wednesday, where am I at on Friday? And I fear if it's not a part of your DMO, then by the end of the week and the end of the month, you're flipping out going, I got nothing. This business isn't working. It's a journey, and you're going to get a lot of no's, but you have to make it part of your daily to get talking to people. If you're not talking to people and you're not getting the ketones out to people, you're not having a business. So that's a DMO. Add 3 new people to your network, connect with 3 new people each day. Now connect your sponsor in 3 three-way messages. This is really important for anyone in their first 30-day period. The power of 3-way connection is huge. I really honed in and drilled on it last night on the Prover 101. But if you're in your MVP period, or you feel like you've lost touch, because I know so often if we walk away from the business for a week or 2, it's like in our minds, we can completely take ourselves out of the game. And maybe you just need to go to your coach and say, I'm feeling a little insecure because I stepped away for a bit, and I would love, if you don't mind, letting me utilize you for the next 3 days to just connect you in some messages and just feel your energy, feel your language, see the resources you drop in when I make you that connection. I think any coach in this business would be like, yes, awesome, let's run. Okay. So, but the hard part is most people, to have that 3-way connection, have to be committed to making the 3 connects. to reaching out to 3 people, to getting them the campfire video or some samples, or at least getting in a conversation where they have questions about ketones and ketosis. That's on you before you can make that 3-way connection. So, but there is so much power and movement and closing done through the 3-way connection. So, and it's a skill you need to utilize. So, and then after your coach makes that 3-way connection, it's not their job to be the follow-upper. You just use them as a third-party credibility. They empowered you, they dropped a resource, and now you need to go and you need to cultivate what just happened and go with the energy that was created, okay? Because your coach could maybe possibly be doing that for 10 other people and will lose track of that one person you connected with them. So you've got to stay on that. Send 3 new campfire videos. Obviously, if you can get there, that's great. Then follow up with outbound campfire videos. It's why having a pipeline and a tracking system is huge in your business. You will get lost. You will not follow up with the people you sent things out to. Make sure you have an organized way of being able to, things happen, life happens. You could have had, a child in the hospital last night. If you don't have your notes and you don't have where to pick back up when you decide to open up that hour for Prove It, you're going to be lost on where to go. And it's going to be a mess. You have to leave a trail of the messes that you make. And I make big old messes. So I need organized trails. Follow up. Create value via social media, messages, texts, community marketing events. I really like the community marketing events and creating value. I know that Selena's really drove her business by meeting a lot of other entrepreneurs lately and getting into women's networking groups and dripping value into whatever it is they were doing. That's really truly how you develop relationships and rapport. And if you're adding value into enough people's lives, it's going to come back at you. I had a client I worked with 5 years ago, added some value into his life. And this morning he made a 3-way connection with me and a girl who's trying to do keto. And he's opening the 3-way messages and he's not a prover. I should tell him about Prove It. But like, people will be connectors of people when you have empowered them in whatever their dreams or passions are and you've come along. That's why when you add someone to your Facebook, go figure out what they do and what they're about and try and find a way to add value. I know I have about 10 people that I chase each month they're my ideal teammates. And I have sent out a lot of books to those people. I've gotten their address and sent them books in the mail before I ever even talked about ketones, because I wanted to show them that I listened to them in a little rapport building that we did. And I matched the hatch on some type of resource that added value into their life. Or just get in the habit of, when we say add value, maybe go send like a song to someone that you had talked to, or, an article that isn't about ketones that you felt like could help them that day. Be a value adder and it will come back to you tenfold in your business. The other one is call into the state of play and invite others to do the same. On Monday nights, State of the Play, we talk about all the time our 3 pillars of faith in ourself, in this community, this company, Prove It, and in the industry. So inviting people on to the State of Play where they get exposure of the company will help validate one of those 3 pillars. Getting them a ticket to more, guess what? That's going to skyrocket. And I'm not saying buy their ticket. I'm saying get them to more. It will skyrocket their belief in themselves. So now you've got them engaged to the Prove It culture. You've got them checking the Facebook as their DMO. You've got them on the State of Play calls to validate the science, the belief, the Tuesday night calls. Now the third one is just going to be the industry itself. And that's why a lot of times I am looking at other things in the industry. And I talked about this last night, part of what I've been doing on some free time as a DMO, not every day, but at least weekly. I go to the Eric Worre channel and I watch success stories of other people who have been in the industry. It's validating my belief in the industry, and I've become passionate about it, and I own it. And I believe this industry is the greatest industry in the world for business. And it's really hard work, and it's not a get rich fast opportunity. And no one who's ever had a success story here I've seen had that happen to. And so when people tell me that, oh, it's just one of those get rich fast, I tell them, give me a name who's someone like you have to work it. And let's say you popped a line and had a ton of people come over at once, and it wasn't all by your hand and your recruiting. There's a lot of work and stress and weight that comes with popping a line that fast. And it is not easy, and there will still be hard work in its own way. I was listening to Tony Robbins talk about this the other day, and said one of the hardest things is popping something, or actually, no, this was TD Jakes, was coming in and inheriting a business of success. It can have its own great challenges because sometimes those people weren't in the trenches. They weren't in the no's. They weren't in the rejection. They weren't in the challenges. They weren't in the DMOs with quiet crickets coming back at them for 2 weeks to be able to understand what their new person is going to face in getting started. So it's important to keep showing up on your DMOs every day. It's important to feel staleness. It's important to feel like you can't handle people and that you're not good enough. It's important to come up against those walls, because that's where your breakthrough happens. And that's where great coaching will endure, is when you've gone through the challenges and you've pressed through. It's going to make you adapt and be able to take on a great organization. This is legacy. This is a legacy industry. It's legacy income, and you must go through the grit and the grind of it if that's what you want it to be. So I applaud you if you are in a place of just stagnancy, and I challenge you to just buckle down and put in the grind, because you will be a better coach when you feel and have that success. And guess what? You will face another season of drought. That is this job. It is an ebb and flow job, and your maturity will develop when you hit the lows and you come through and you stay with it for the highs. So that is, and then the final one is plug into team trainings, huddles, and things like that. And I can't tell you how important that is. And it really goes back to checking your pulse. Listen, if you don't show up for these meetings and you let yourself fall by the wayside and you don't show up for work and you don't let people know, hey, I'm in it, I'm here, I'm working, here's what my calendar says this week, here's the activity I have going on. It is your job. This is your business. These are your company meetings. This is where you can get motivated. This is where you can feel support. This is where you can feel like you're part of a tribe, but it's up to you to turn that little Zoom on or to get on that call, and then you'll be fed. But nobody can drag you to feed you. You have to be a self-starter to be in this, and you have to show up, and then you have to lead others into the patterns of behavior to have them engage and show up. You don't want to be a spoon feeder to your tribes. You want to utilize the resources around you and have other people that they don't know speaking the same exact thing you are to them every day, only they can't hear you anymore because you're their peer. If I need, something really said, like before I went into an event with my peers, I would call Brian Underwood to get on a Zoom call and tell them the importance of inviting into an event, because somehow if they're my peer and I'm the one coming, they can't always hear me, right? So you get here, you bring your team here, because you're going to hear from different promoters all across the company speaking in things that work. You've probably heard it before. There's nothing new, but hearing it again from someone else, sometimes people just seep into more people in a different way. So this has already been a 30-minute call, and so I am going to call this part 1 and stop the recording. So that was the list of your daily DMOs. All right. And that's where we'll leave it with that. I got more, and we're going to call it part 2, but that is enough for one day. So I'm going to stop that. And